On Tallahassee, welcome to this Friday edition of Florida State University Weather. I am student meteorologist Parker Beasley.
I'm student meteorologist Michael on, and it's been a nice few crisp fall days out there the last few days, but changes are coming this evening.
Changes are definitely coming. We've had rain come in the past 2 days, but before that we did have some nice fall crisp air come into play, but tomorrow is looking rather different.
Oh yeah, for sure. The atmosphere is already getting juiced up ahead of Tropical Storm Nestor, and we're going to be tracking that basically for the entire show. And we'll also have updates on Nestor as it impacts our area overnight, tonight, into tomorrow as well.
Yep, we will be covering Nestor here in the studio throughout the show, so stay tuned because we do have multiple segments that will include what's to come with Tropical Storm Nestor.
Yeah, and it's not really a tropical system in a sense. It doesn't really have a well-defined circulation. It doesn't feel like a tropical storm's impacting us right now. When you walk outside, it feels raw for October standards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's chilly. It's raining with a light drizzle. You talked about Nestor. It's got no center of circulation, and the convection is all over the place with this system.
Yeah, and even though the center, we're going to say that thing, even though it's a little bit west of us, it's very lopsided on the east side. A lot of the moisture and the wind and the rain with the system is on the east side.
Absolutely. And not only is it going to affect us here in the Panhandle, but it's also going to affect the entire peninsula of Florida.
Yeah, the good thing about it is it's moving quickly, and so by Sunday, perfect weather for any activities like carving some pumpkins in your apartment. Perfect idea.
Even going to the pumpkin patch.
Yes, it's exactly perfect for that. But for now, we're going to send it off to Chris for an overview of tonight's Lotus show.
Thank you, Mal. Currently, right now, we have some rain. It's 62 degrees. Feels like a light drizzle right now. But as you can see, with this radar, we can see the first rain band of Tropical Storm Nestor that will be impacting us throughout the night up until tomorrow. As we start zooming out, we can see this warm front that does connect all the way down to the absolute unit of a storm that is Nestor. The 3-day forecast, Saturday, you want to be staying indoors, staying safe, as we will be affected by this tropical system. If you have any outdoor activities, you want to save them for Sunday. As we're going into our headlines, tropical storm-like conditions will be likely tomorrow. Cold fronts will be moving in next week, and expect rain chances to stick around for quite a while. For now, I'm going to pass things off to Michael with a look at the southeast.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And in the southeast, feels pretty much fall-like in the interior location of the southeast this evening, where we have temperatures in the middle 60s for a majority of the southeast, with 64 in Montgomery, 65 in Atlanta. But then down towards the Panhandle and Gulf Coast states, you can start to notice how it's a little cloudy, dreary, raw-like out there with 62 in Tallahassee and 70 in New Orleans, and then a little bit warmer down towards South Florida at 84 in Miami. Now, the dew points, we still have some relatively dry fall-like air in the interior locations of the southeast, but you start to notice how the moisture is increasing in Florida, especially in the eastern side of Nestor, which is currently located in the central Gulf. So that's going to be surging up the moisture for the Georgia and the Carolinas as we go into the evening hours and especially tomorrow. And those dew points are going to really rise and give some heavy rainfall, especially if you're on the east side of Nestor's circulation. Heat indices are very close to your air temperatures in the interior locations of the southeast, and where it's more humid down towards central and south Florida, those heat indices are a little bit higher than your air temperature, especially in Miami and Key West at 91 and 93 degrees. With the winds, you can also notice the circulation of Nestor with these easterly winds on the northern side of it, northeasterly winds on the western side of the circulation, and then a little bit of a southerly component down towards Miami at 12 miles per hour. Now, again, Nestor doesn't really look like a tropical system. Very lopsided with all the convection, rain, and wind on that eastern side of the circulation you see right there. What really circulation is. Not really a really defined circulation still. And this is the old frontal boundary that actually moved through us on Wednesday afternoon. It's starting to move up back north as a warm front, and this is going to really impact Nestor as we go into tomorrow, make it not really tropical, make it more into those typical mid-latitude cold fronts you see during the fall and winter months as it moves up the Atlantic coastline going into tomorrow, impacting us in here in Tallahassee as well as in Wake Forest for the game of FSU tomorrow at 7 p.m. But the good thing about Nestor is we definitely need the rain in the southeast. You can see a lot of extreme and severe drought. Now, it didn't really include the rain earlier in the week since the cutoff for this is back on Tuesday, and we got a lot of rain, especially in central Georgia, Tuesday into early Wednesday. So that will be reflected in next week's drought monitor, as well as Nestor's moisture as well. So expect improvements for this as we head in towards next week with the newest drought monitor. The moisture does show you how all the moisture associated with Nestor is going to be on the east side with the drier air filtering in. So again, Sunday is going to be really nice across a lot of the southeast, so perfect for any fall-like activities you want to do outside, and like pumpkin carving or going to the pumpkin patch. But then you start to see the moisture, a little surge of moisture ahead of our next cold front, which will arrive for a lot of the southeast going into Monday and Tuesday. So there you go with tomorrow's forecast. A little wedge of cooler air on the western side of Nestor with filtering down with the Appalachians blocking it off as well. Let's send off to Hayden with a look at a local forecast.
Okay, yeah, so let's zoom in on our local region. So today you can see 67, and so it's below average by 14 degrees. So it's that you can feel that fall air settling in, which is very nice for us. And then the average low is 56, so we're a little bit warmer with those clouds. And thank God we're nowhere near that record of 91 in 2016. So that is very good. And so looking out live our camp, it is very miserable out there. 62 degrees, some light stratiform rain. And so it's definitely doesn't feel like a tropical cyclone is coming, but it is coming. And unfortunately, we still have those cold conditions to contend with. So if you're out to the Greek festival, just keep in mind about the weather coming in. Maybe hold off on Sunday once the better weather comes in. And so looking out to Tallahassee, 62, like I said, some lower 60s. Up in Georgia, some upper 60s. And then down in Perry, where maybe the rain's a little bit heavier, in St. Mark's, we have 61. And so it definitely is going to feel a little bit cooler there as that rain comes in. And then also, that cold front that came in earlier provided that drier air, and that is now getting eroded by some of that moisture coming in from that cyclone. St. Mark's 59, Carabel 62, so you can really see that moisture starting to stream in versus those upper 40s into our Georgia area. And this trend will continue as that moisture fills in behind that cyclone. And so, and also you can kind of see that rotation coming in from the northeast. And that is due to that cyclonic motion ahead of that warm front and that tropical cyclone coming in. And so these winds are going to drastically increase around 25, maybe to 35 miles per hour, and maybe stronger along the coast. So just keep that in mind as the evening progresses into tomorrow. And so this kind of just reiterates that moisture that we're talking about. Definitely some heavier rain out towards the coast, and that has started to fill in towards the I-10 corridor. And you can really see the moisture coming in towards Panama City over here. Definitely some heavy rain down towards East Point. So just keep that in mind. The roads are going to be slick. However, this rain, it sucks for the weekend, but this is a very good thing for a drought. We have severe drought over near the Funiac Springs in Dothan, Alabama. And then towards Tallahassee, we do have some moderate drought. And so hopefully this does defeat those drought concerns as we head into the fall. And so what we've been talking about, you can kind of see some heavy rain with that warm front. And then later on today, that tropical cyclone will come in towards Carabel and Apalachicola. So just keep that in mind and be careful out there. And so looking into the week ahead, after we deal with that cyclone, we will warm up behind that warm front, and we will get some cooler air coming in next week as some fronts move in. Now let's send it off to the desk.
Thank you, Hayden. Well, Chris, it seems like the theme of the show tonight is talking about the development of Tropical Storm Nestor and how it's going to affect us here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, Tropical Storm Nestor is very strong storm, tropical storm as it is, with winds up at like 35 miles an hour. So you definitely don't want to be outside.
Yes, definitely. Fortunately enough, here up in Tallahassee in the Panhandle, we haven't been seeing much tropical weather this season. So we're going to kind of talk about things to do and things not to do when a tropical storm comes our way. So what's something we should not do, Chris?
100%, we should not be going to the pumpkin patch with Michael on Saturday.
Definitely. That's definite no-go. And as the storm moves through this Saturday, make sure to stay inside. I know it might be tempting to go outside and see what's going on, but there might be a lot of fallen debris or fallen power lines and some local flooding.
Yeah, you also don't want to be wasting the charge on your electronics, as we may lose power because of those heavy winds may knock down a power line and you'll be out with power. You'll never know when you need to contact someone.
Especially here in Tallahassee, we don't know how long that power will be out if we do have fallen power lines. So take advantage of that, maybe catch up on some studying, catch up on some sleep, hang out with your roommates.
clean your room if you need to
There you
do
go.
that. Play some board games.
Yeah, definitely be prepared for the storm that's coming. We could see gusts up to 50 miles per hour here in Tallahassee. It's a very fast-moving storm, but nevertheless, it could be very damaging.
Yeah. Biggest takeaway from this is you want to be staying safe, stay indoors, keep your electronics charged up. Don't be looking at photos of Andrew Luck like, I don't know, some people at FSU weather might be.
And before the storm moves in, make sure to take in those loose objects. Make sure to bring your pets inside because those gusty winds could be detrimental to some things that are left outside.
Yeah. Stay inside. Don't waste your battery. Watch for falling debris. If you have pets, don't leave them outside. You want to bring your pets. You want to bring all the loose objects inside. But for now, we're going to send things off to the wall with Parker.
Nice, guys. Way to allude that people's pets are going to be flying around within the tropical storm this weekend. Our hot spots around the map right now. 96 was the high today in Phoenix, Arizona. That is the hottest spot in the continental United States. And then our low today was in Copper Basin, Idaho at 9 degrees. That was this morning's low. Looking around nationally, though, towards the west coast, a cold front is moving through parts of the west and parts of the Midwest, cooling down their temperatures, getting a little bit of rain in some areas, and over towards the east coast, feeling very, very nice as we had a cool front move through the area earlier this week, calming down those dew points and really decreasing those temperatures. And as I alluded to, look at all these dew points in the 40s for most of the southeast and in the 30s for parts of the northeast, just feeling very, very dry, not juicy like it will be tomorrow here in Tallahassee. Towards the west coast, dew points are feeling like they're in the 20s, so very, very dry conditions. Make sure you got that chapstick or else your lips are going to be fried. Here's that cold front that's going to be moving through, but the bigger story is Tropical Storm Nestor. Now, we haven't been very lucky here in Tallahassee with rain in the past months, but maybe we'll get some Andrew luck and get some rain relief within the next few days, and hopefully our drought conditions will decrease within the next couple of days. Here is Tropical Storm Nestor right now. The center of rotation is right here. You can see there's nothing around it right now. No convection, no low-level cloud, no upper-level cloud deck around it. However, there is this huge area of convection off to the east of it that is currently impacting parts of central and southern Florida right now. If we track it out for you, tropical storm Nestor, that is supposed to be making its way rather quickly, moving northeast at 22 miles per hour. This thing is on its horse, really heading towards our way, towards Apalachicola, just east of Panama City, and impacting the Tallahassee region tomorrow morning into the overnight hours nearing 2 a.m. Winds predicted to be around 65 miles per hour for this storm. If we track it out even further, this thing is really, really getting along across parts of the southeast. Saturday by 2 p.m., it's moved 200 to 300 miles rather quickly in a 12-hour span, and it's going to be moving even quicker as we go through the rest of the weekend, and it's going to be coming off the coast of the Carolinas, becoming a subtropical depression at that point. For the next 24 hours, though, much of the country is staying dry. However, we do have this cold front that I alluded to. That's going to be cooling our temperatures down here in Tallahassee for parts of next week. But the big story here is Nestor. If we pan it out for you, it should pause right here. And you can see all the convection. It's not going to pause. You can see all the convection on the east side. So once we get past that east side of the storm, things will clear up and we'll have a beautiful rest of the Saturday and into Sunday. So Michael, who's actually doing time cues, can go to the pumpkin patch and get himself a pumpkin. Tonight's forecast nationally, raining in parts of the southeast due to Nestor. Parts of the northeast are looking rather beautiful, and over towards the west coast is also looking beautiful with temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Tomorrow's forecast also looking great. San Antonio, the hot spot at 90 degrees. Evan is going to give us a look at the local forecast.
Thank you very much, Parker. And really not too much rain today so far. We've had those drizzle conditions that have really produced not too much rainfall for us yet. Really, it's helped out this with the monthfall rainfall so far, 3 inches compared to what we normally get at 2 inches. It's a good thing, definitely, with that dry September. But so far this year, on average, we have been definitely much lower than usual. Sky cam not looking so great. Definitely a lot of packing clouds in and should continue throughout the night and into tomorrow. 62 degrees, a little bit of rain. Yeah, it is cool and rainy, so definitely not the favorite. So hopefully you have a good, crisp rain jacket to help you with that. 62 at Monticello, 69 is our hot spot actually at Valdosta. You can really see these cooler temperatures down at the coast coming with this cloud cover that has really covered up much of the sun. Definitely out today, and those dew points getting very muggy, definitely around the coast in Carabel and Apalachicola. And let me tell you, if you were retired and like Andrew Luck, this is not definitely the weekend to go down onto the coast for that beach weekend and relax there. Big old rain coming through on the outer banks of Nestor, and you can see really how much moisture this has brought up and will continue to bring up as Nestor, while it's still definitely in the Gulf itself, will continue to rise and increase throughout the evening and into tomorrow. If we look a little bit closer in, you can really see how much rain this actually brings up a little bit, but this will help out our chart monitor, definitely. You see even parts into Alabama and Phoenix Springs where we have the severe drought. Definitely should be finished definitely by the time much of this pulls throughout tonight. And we can see at 9:30 is where this eye will start to come a little bit onshore, and definitely the biggest effects right tomorrow morning. So definitely be heads up for that at 9:30 tomorrow. Definitely be heads up for power outages, stuff like that. Be prepared and stay safe is definitely what we should be looking at there. By the time 6 o'clock and dinner time hits tomorrow, should be done, which is definitely a good sign for that with how fast the storm is moving at about 22 miles an hour, which is usually a lot faster than most storms. And you can see most of even the cloud cover's gone by the time Sunday hits, and the rest of Sunday looking pretty beautiful once we can get that cleanup effort done after Nestor moves through. But if we're looking into the rest of our week, we are looking at Monday and Tuesday, looking back at those rain chances after Nestor comes in on Saturday, while we're also hitting that warm front, which should also increase our temperatures to 84 degrees on Monday. But I'm going to take it to the desk with me and Tyler, and we're going to talk about what is the difference between tropical and subtropical storms. Nestor, it's really just it just doesn't have the normal convection that we've seen from common types of hurricanes.
Yeah, really, Nestor is a very strange case here. It was classified as a tropical storm, but let's kind of get into the differences between a subtropical and a tropical storm. So a subtropical storm, it has an upper level low higher up in the atmosphere, has colder temperatures, especially in the core of the storm, and also fueled by the air and the ocean as it makes its way across wherever it's going.
Yeah, and then, so tropical storms have a low at the surface, and they're high aloft up further up in the air, and they have more of a warm core. They're fueled definitely by much warmer temperatures, especially in the Gulf of Mexico.
And really, and then there's also another type of storm, extratropical storms, and really the difference between them is they don't really exhibit many tropical characteristics. Their core, not very warm, and then the big thing is their wind field expands, so you can't really see an exact core for that hurricane, very broader and wider in size. So that's why when we look at Nestor, there's not a clearly defined eye for that storm, and the winds and the rain kind of expand out really far, and most of it's associated with the east side of the storm.
If you looked at much of our graphics for Nestor, the eye is really where there's no really convection much near it, so it's definitely quite weird in that sense.
Exactly, so that's why been a lot of maybe not controversy necessarily, but a little bit of confusion as to why the Nestor is a tropical storm and maybe not an extratropical storm. And just another tidbit of information, right now, highest wind speeds right now in Nestor are where those thunderstorms are at. So where we see all of that rain, that's where the highest winds are. The west side of the storm, not quite as fast.
Yep, absolutely. So regardless, though, stay safe. Definitely all three of these types of storms can affect people. And with more information on that, we're going to lead on to Zach at the wall.
Thanks, guys. So let's see how Nestor is going to be impacting Florida this week, and we're going to look at our Florida forecast. So right now, Nestor is down a little bit south of the Panhandle, and it's going to be continuing to move. So this will be its location about 2 a.m. tonight, and then it's going to be making landfall and through Tallahassee. It's going to go through Panama City, so it'll be making landfall around tomorrow morning-ish, and then it's going to start to weaken and just continue through Georgia and then go up through the Carolinas and eventually make its way into the Atlantic, and it's going to be weakening as it goes across. And this is really going to be our big weather maker for Florida over the weekend. So right now our temperatures are rather cool. We're feeling those cool temperatures because we're having the cloud cover and that cold front had passed through. So we're sitting at 62 degrees. The rain isn't quite here yet, so a little bit cloudy. And cloudy most around the coast. Tampa's starting to feel a little bit of those impacts from the storm so far. And our wind speed, we are really seeing this dominant flow from Nestor, that counterclockwise direction from the low pressure system. So you can sort of see that push. Nestor sitting right here, so we can see the wind start to shift and go in that counterclockwise direction because it's a low pressure system. And here's our radar. We can see that rain is starting to push its way through. Tallahassee's almost starting to see that rain. And then we see Tampa starting to see that rain, and we're going to be seeing that rain across most of the region. So let's hop around and see who's getting it first. The Panhandle is definitely the first one up. Panama City seeing the rain first, and then Tallahassee's about to start seeing them. But more on the East Coast over towards Jacksonville, they won't be seeing the rain quite yet. But Central Florida, Tampa, they're already starting to see the effects. And then down south, you're a little bit more lucky. You won't have as much rain to be impacted by this weekend. And over the next 24 hours, we're just going to see Nestor sort of push through. It's going to rotate as it's going, bring rain for most of the region. Maybe not Miami down here, maybe a few showers, and then it's going to start to push up and may have impacts for our game against Wake Forest tomorrow, actually in North Carolina. So let's look at the weekend ahead with these NFL forecasts. The Miami is traveling to Buffalo, and it's unfortunate that it's not a home game because this is what that stadium would look like if Miami was playing at home after that 0-6 start. They're starting kickoff 62 degrees, very comfortable conditions there, ending at 63, so very comfortable to be sitting out there. But remember, it's going to be partly sunny, so bring that sunscreen even though it's cooler and stay hydrated. And we're going with a score prediction of Buffalo winning 23-7. And for the Jags game, they're traveling to the Bengals. We'll have a nice temperature for the kickoff, 69 degrees there at 1 p.m. And then we're going to be warming up to 74, so fairly comfortable, especially compared to the Jacksonville heat that they've been seeing over the past few weeks whenever they've been playing home games. And we're going pretty bold on this one. We're going to say that Jax is going to go to Cincinnati and upset them 31-14. And for tonight, we're going to be seeing some breezy conditions. As we can see, this rain's getting pushed around. So the storm's going to be rolling in 61 degrees for the low tonight, and we're going to be seeing rain across most of the region. Tampa might be getting a little bit of lightning, 72 there. And all across the region is cloudy and rainy, so even Miami is going to be seeing a little bit of those conditions, feeling a little bit warmer down south. And for tomorrow, same story as tonight. We're going to be getting those rainy conditions out of here. 77 as the high for tomorrow in Tallahassee. Showers are going to be wrapping up in the evening hours, and then we'll be able to have some comfortable conditions to clean up any debris that's going through after the storm passes on Sunday. I'm going to give the remote off to Maddie for the last local look of the day.
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, we're going to take one last look at the Tallahassee area to make sure you all are adequately prepared for what is coming this weekend. This overcast look over Doak Campbell Stadium, what we're seeing right now, is going to continue over the next 24 hours as Nestor moves in. Right now, a chilly evening on Friday at 6:30 p.m., 62 degrees, and rain is in the area, and we already have a nice breeze out of the east at 6 miles per hour. Much of the Panhandle is looking at mid-60s. We're getting to Carabel at 63, Tallahassee 62, and that's going to continue for much of the evening as we get into southern Georgia. We see Thomasville at 66 and Valdosta at 69 as well, so a nice cool evening out there. Our wind speeds right now pretty calm for what's going to be coming this weekend. We do see that easterly and northeasterly flow as Nestor is coming up a low pressure system. We often see counterclockwise rotation. We're going to see these wind speeds increase throughout the next couple of hours. Apalachicola already at 12 miles per hour and Carabel at 4. For our muggy meter, though, looking over at Perry, Valdosta, and Thomasville, we see that those very dry conditions are continuing into this evening. We do see down to the coast where we see Nestor coming in, already making an effect in Carabel and Apalachicola as it's starting to feel more humid out there. Right now for St. Mark's and Tallahassee, we're seeing dry conditions, but that is going to change as well. The theme of the evening is Nestor and where it's going to go and how it's going to affect us. Right now, Nestor is at 60 miles per hour for a sustained wind. That's going to increase around Saturday morning at 65 before it makes landfall on the western part of the Panhandle. Right now it's moving pretty quickly northeast at 22 miles per hour, so once it does come to make landfall, drop a bunch of rain on us, it's going to make its way out into the coast. As we see that moving up to Tallahassee, bringing those tropical storm-like conditions, and even further, we're going all the way out into the Atlantic, leaving off off the coast of North Carolina as a tropical depression and leaving around Sunday mid-afternoon. For those of you who are traveling up to North Carolina for the game, I don't suggest it as those driving conditions might not be the best. It's going to be a messy game around kickoff, 58 degrees, a little chilly with rainy conditions, and that's going to continue throughout the entire game, mid to lower and upper 50s, and that's going to give a messy but hopefully a good game for Florida State. Right now, tonight, 65 degrees, definitely chilly out there. Looking at tropical storm conditions that'll be coming through the area within the next 4 hours. And we're seeing those winds pick up out of the east at 14 miles per hour. Looking at the week ahead, despite the tropical conditions that we're going to be seeing on Saturday at 100% and a high of 78, we're going to see that move out of the area and leave us with some nice dry conditions on Sunday with a high of 82. Maybe if you're feeling it, go ahead and take that day to go to the pumpkin patch. It'll be the perfect day to do that this weekend. And then as you get into the rest of the week, we do see some storm chances coming in around Monday and Tuesday, but look at those highs. We still have some fall weather into the area, lows getting down to 52 and 54 by mid next week. We're going to pass things off to Evan and Tyler to end the show.
Thanks, Maddie. Back to the desk with Evan once again for our weekly segment of This Day in Weather History. So let's just dive right back into it. 2005, Hurricane Wilma formed, and as a result of that, we tied the record for most named storms since 1933.
That's impressive. And the amount of storms that really occurred during 2005 and the amount of impacts 2005 brought, Katrina, Rita, Wilma, there's plenty of others to be made. They got to W on the list, so that's just impressive enough. That's what it is.
Very busy year for the Atlantic, and then really when it made landfall, lowest pressure ever recorded for American landfall, 882 millibars. Extremely
It's getting
low.
down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to put that in perspective, Nestor believes at 999 pressure right now, and usual pressure is only about 1,020. So that 100%, 100 millibar decrease difference is huge.
Yeah, very much stronger storm Wilma was. Good thing we don't have to worry about that with Nestor.
yeah.
Just mostly rain concerns for us.
Definitely not that strong. We also had in 1930 a snowburst of 4 feet in Buffalo coming off of Lake Erie. But I mention always that I'm like 5'8". That's going up to here.
Yeah,
about
4 feet of snow. Just imagine, probably right there along Evan's shoulders, maybe a little bit lower. That's how high the snow was. Luckily, I'd have a little bit more going for me. I'm a little bit taller. That's okay. We don't have to worry about that. 1987, thunderstorms produced golf ball size hail and winds up to 86 miles per hour from Dallas to Atlanta, causing $1 million in damage.
That's $1 million damage in 1987 money, as well as 86 mile an hour winds from just thunderstorms. That's impressive.
Really, and in today's money, that way more costly.
Yep.
But let's look at that week ahead. Tomorrow, definitely 100% chance of rain. Nestor is going to bring rainy conditions for us.
Yeah.
But Sunday, going to be a lot clearer. Going to get up to 82 degrees. That's going to be nice.
Stay safe. Make sure you have those supplies handy, and make sure your weather alert definitely on everything up to date. The power could definitely go out, so definitely be prepared for that. And you can follow us on all of our social media outlets for updates and things like that. We'll definitely keep you posted.
And also follow us on Instagram as well, at FSU Weather. Be sure to stay safe, but if you happen to take any pictures of the storms, just send them our way, and we'll post them on our Instagram.
Any updates would be great. For me, I'm student meteorologist Evan Thomason.
And I'm Chief Student Meteorologist Tyler Sherrod. Have a great evening, everyone.